Hi, everyone. It's Pedro Baez and Charlie Longo from Go for Glory Stable. Today is January 25th, 2026, and this is an update for the file for the previous week. As usual, please like or subscribe to these videos on YouTube as it helps the channel. And all right, so uh, we only had three races last week, so this isn't going to be a terribly long update for everyone. Um, so that's a good thing. The At a high level, the Paul Kelly horses, we do not have like a detailed update. We're hoping to get a detailed update, but Paul's under the weather right now, so we're just gonna give him a little time to recover, and then we'll get back to him at some point this week. So his horses, but no news is good news with Paul. So there's nothing as long as he'll reach out to us if there's any issues. So um, all his horses in Florida doing fine, moving along, and then like I said, we'll get a more detailed update when we can this week, hopefully for next week's video. Um, just high level items. Um, let's see. We got the gear ordering. Charlie, you said that's pretty much all shipped out. Um,
Yeah, everything's shipped out. If anyone still has not received it, please let me know. And everything has been insured, and I'll get with Tony, and we can always resolve any. But I know there's one issue out there, and hopefully the item wasn't stolen. And if it was, it is insured, and we can always make amends and replace it.
okay. So and so yeah, I got mine. So I'm actually I actually put it to use already with my jacket. But yeah, pretty good quality. So so anybody who got gear, you'll see that on the January statements in February. So when we send them out for February, in February for January. Um, so that's the gear stuff. Videos, as usual, on our YouTube channel. We put up a bunch of videos this week because trainer Rob Harmon has he has like a Meta glasses now, which is like he can like videotape while he's sitting there behind the horses each morning. So we're actually getting a lot of videos of him sitting there jogging these horses. So if you want to see up close and personal if your horse is jogging and moving in action, especially the babies, Beetlejuice, Solar Queen, Seven Seagrams, go on YouTube and check those puppies out. I've been watching them like crazy. It's actually really nice to see. Um, and we can see a little view from what Charlie sees when Charlie's driving. That a lot of us don't see. So, uh, anyway, ta tax email, tax email. So I sent the tax update either last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't recall. It's crazy. So if you got that email requesting tax information or with the tax questions, that means you qualify for certain tax documentation. So just please, if you can, just get back to me or Charlie so we got to get that process moving. Meaning the K1s, the 1099. So everyone should start kind of seeing a little bit more of that going on. It's just a necessary evil. It comes to owning race horses, but and once a year, thankfully. So that's that. For whom the bell tolls, she's our new horse. So we kind of sent the email on that one, along with Ship's Revenge, who's our new broodmare. So we sent out emails on that. So you've seen it. You're all welcome to join if you want. They're different horses, so different experiences, but a lot of fun. The statements, so December monthly statements and the annual 2025 statements were sent out this past week, towards the end of the week. So you should all have that. Just any questions, just let me or Charlie know as usual. And and uh, I guess with that being said, it's just keep in mind, and I kind of mentioned it in the emails, is we are in the dark winter right now. I always joke around with some of the guys, we call it a dark winter in Northeast because just nothing, just like barely any tracks open. Um, so just hang in there. Things are starting to thaw out, especially once we get to February and especially once we get to March. But but yeah, we actually had a couple of winners so far this winter. Winners so far this winter, and hopefully we can kind of keep the good times rolling. So that is the December statements, and then last but not least, Game of Claims series at Pocono Downs in mid-February. Pocono Downs opens mid-February, and when they open, they usually open with the Game of Claims series, which is a progressive claiming series. We usually do it the last few years, so still kicking around the idea if we're going to do that in mid-February. It's only 3 weeks away. The first series is for 25 claimers, so 25,000 up to 30,000. They go for good purses, and the horses get claimed all the time like crazy. So we had a lot of fun last year with it. So if you are interested, just reach out to Charlie and I, and we can kind of start getting an idea of who's interested in the game of claims for short-term claiming and short-term action in February. So, all right, Charlie, I'm gonna give it over to you. We're not gonna talk about the Paul Kelly horses because there's nothing to know. They're doing well, but we'll hopefully get more detail by next week, and hopefully he's feeling better too. And we are gonna start with Artist Best. So
Okay.
he's one of the three horses that raced. So let me pull up his replay.
Yeah, I'd like to say we knew obviously before the race that a claim had been entered, one claim on artist, and I was talking to Scotty, our caretaker, before the race, and I said, Scotty, what do you think? You think well earlier in the night because I was there driving in one of the MADC races, and Scotty didn't think we were going to get claimed tonight that night, and personally, my feeling was we were, even though we were double digit odds. And I just knew that he fit very well at this level. He's still a nice horse that can make money in the right spots. You know, we had some success with him in the MADC, but gosh, anyone that watches these races regularly, they're really, really tough. Every driver goes all out, regardless of the odds. They don't look at the board. There's a lot of testosterone in those races. Guys leave when they shouldn't be leaving, or girls or gals. And it's tough racing. You don't get any holes. They don't give you any favors. I'm telling you, it's really, really, really tough racing. But we did have some good moments with artists. He will always be near and dear to my heart. Having won with him my first race at the Meadowlands and came close, got 3 seconds with him as well. So he's an honest horse. He gives it his all. He's just got to get that right trip. And in our last race with him, I had a really good feeling that he would turn in a good effort. Braxton Boyd, was up on him for the first time. Braxton's family, Braxton's from Michigan, so is Rob's family, so they know each other very well. Braxton's a great guy. I had a feeling he'd be pushing him off the gate, and I was just hoping, there wouldn't be too many other levers, and we can get the right kind of trip in and close out the artist's best year with a top three finish, and we came close. He put in a good effort, so you can roll the video here. So right there, you could see he's on the gate, and he's going to blast out of there. So I'm like, all right, this is a good thing. Um, he gets away pretty good. Again, not elite gate speed, but he can leave when he has to. But it does take a lot of effort for him to get to the top. And unfortunately, that two at 70 to 1 really gets away well with Jacob Cutting, who, by the way, is a really good up and coming driver. And he's finally able to push past him, before the quarter. But now you're seeing immediate pressure coming on the outside. So right then and there, I'm thinking, all right, it's probably going to be a tough race. First quarter wasn't too bad, 28-3, but let me tell you guys, I was in that second race and the wind gusts were ferocious. It felt like at least 15, 20 miles an hour. And it was not an easy night driving. So here you see the 10 coming up on the outside. So we're sitting in the pocket right here. And 10 is not going by right now. Rock Jagger's a pretty good horse. He had done well in the MADC about a year or so ago. As a matter of fact, I think this is a horse that we were trying to claim, and maybe we were unsuccessful. I forget. We've tried so many times. Here, I'm getting a little concerned. He's starting to gap a little bit, which is unlike him because he's usually pretty good and staying on the helmet. But then he comes back a little bit more. Braxton, keeps him alive. And right here, we see it appears to be just a four-horse race. I'm liking our chances, and you could see his head turning a little bit towards the pylons, coming to the stretch. His intention is to go inside of him, but Brett kind of pulls in front of him a little bit there. He was sort of in the 1.5 path, and obviously I knew we weren't going to catch Brett at this point. But Colin Kelly, who's been driving at a pretty high level, has a lot of horse, and he comes on strong there. And as does Brad Chisholm here on the one horse, and kind of just blows right by us. But overall, I thought it was a good effort. I was happy. We picked up a fourth place check in 57-2. The track variant was -1. Quite honestly, I thought it was about a -2. It was that brutal with the headwinds and the wind gust. I was talking to Jolie earlier, and he thought the same thing, that that the conditions were much worse than what they appeared to be. And yeah, it was rough. The races weren't all that fast that night, but these races can really sting a horse. So you do the best you can with them in those situations. And so that's it for Artist Best. And yeah, going forward, Pedro and I have discussed, you know, being a little bit more careful with the lower end horses, and it is a little difficult to make money with the the 10 and the 15 claimers. So going forward, we're going to be looking for the higher end horses that can really pay their way at a minimum break even. That puts everyone in the best possible position to at least not lose money, break out even, or make some money.
Right. Um, all right. So yeah, we wish artists best, all the best, and everyone you will see in January. So your next month in February for your January statements, you will see the proceeds from his claim, 7,500 for whoever stayed on, and then the other for the other amount for people who uh, who uh, who sold before the race. So anyway, so his chapter is closed, and we are moving on. And he's actually in a good he's in a good he's in a good bar now, based in New Jersey. So all right, Charlie, we got next Bo Eastle. Bo Eastle is he is arriving in February 1st.
Hmm.
So a week from today. I thought he was in already, but it's just with all this crazy snow and the coldness and everything, it's been rough to kind of go back and forth between Rob's Big Z farm and Binghamton. So that's the story. So he's arriving on February 1st, and uh, still targeted to get back. He hasn't been off that much, so he's still targeted to be back to the races in towards the end of February for Boistel. And he will be in Saratoga. He'll be targeting Saratoga when he comes back.
Yeah, and I think he'll do well there, and I'm pretty excited. I'm really looking forward to the reopening of Saratoga. Right now, as you guys know, we're pretty much limited to the Meadowlands, and not all our horses can really take to the mile. Every horse they have their preferences. Some thrive on the half, some on the 5/8. Not every horse, loves the long stretch at the Meadowlands. It's much tougher racing, obviously, with all the tracks closed. Horses are coming in from everywhere, so there are no easy races. And of course, you're dealing with the harsh conditions in January. Friday night was the coldest weather I've ever experienced as a driver, and let me tell you. I was using winter gloves for the first time, and I couldn't feel my hands. It was that tough. And if you get to pull a horse that's really on the bit, let me tell you, it is not easy. And you really have to have done it to understand what these drivers are going through and what they're up against. So yeah, no easy races in January in this brutal weather at the Big M.
Yeah, so we are, yeah, we're very happy to get him going again. He's a nice trotter. He's a solid trotter. Um, he's just so that's his story. So probably a week from today, he'll be back at Big Z, and then back in training. Um, uh, Beetlejuice, uh, Beetlejuice. He's part of him and the other two babies, the Philly babies. They're doing fine. No, nothing to know from that side. You're actually seeing videos up now on YouTube, so you can actually watch and see how their gait looks and everything. They're just jogging. Um, Rob said you can expect to see with the stopwatch later next week, assuming the weather cooperates and it's not sub-zero the entire week. So that's the plan for those three.
And
And
Pedro, it'll be interesting to see how the Paul Kelly horses perform versus the Rob Harmon horses, only because, obviously, because of the warm climate down south, those babies have much more of an advantage. They tend to progress a lot more quickly because of the conditions down there versus up here. So generally speaking, they should be a little bit ahead, all things being equal, by the time they come up here. So if Rob's horses can kind of stay at that Paul Kelly level, then I'd say that that's tremendous for us, and it could be a very, very interesting spring and summer. But yeah, the weather up here, particularly this year, will obviously set us back because there's going to be days where we may not even be able to get out to jog them because of the snow, or not necessarily, train them with the stopwatch because it's just a little bit too cold, and you have to, tread lightly and be a little bit more careful and mindful of the babies in the severe weather, and that can delay things some.
yeah, we've seen both sides of that. So the some of the owners who, part of Go for Glory before the merger, we Paul was actually based in New Jersey year round for a couple of years, like 2 or 3 years. And we asked him because before that, Paul used to always go to Florida. So we asked him, what do you think is, how would you perceive it, staying up here versus going to Florida? Because there's a lot of barns that stay up here, like Linda Toscano, Tony Lagna, Lanya. Um, Marcus Melander, Noel Daly. There's like a lot of big time trainers that stay up north all year round, and they stay up north because they own like a lot of it's for help reasons. So your grooms and stuff, the grooms have families, their kids are in school, whatever. So the grooms don't want to be going back and forth to Florida, so they kind of want to stay in one place. So for that, it's good to stay in one place, like in the Northeast. But I asked Paul. I said, well, what's like the pros and cons? And he was like, what Charlie said. He said, well, the pros are the weather. The weather usually cooperates with you in Florida and is much more comfortable for the trainers and the help and the workers and everything working with the horses, and obviously for the horses too. But Paul said, the issue with Florida is you sometimes you can overtrain, meaning you don't have any days off because the weather's so good, and then the horses just keep progressing almost too quickly. Then you're like, oh man, I gotta tone it back a little bit. We're gonna keep the same speed next couple of weeks to kind of tone it back. Whereas up here, you have your built-in kind of rest days with the cold weather or the snow and stuff. So then it kind of keeps them progressing kind of more normal pace, I guess, versus like a hyper fast pace. So, um, so yeah, that's the story. And I remember like Skybox when he was a year baby, because he was up in New Jersey, and Skybox, I remember him coming back and he had icicles on his chin. As a 2-year-old, he had icicles coming down his chin from the frozen mucus, whatever. And these horses are tough, and they it doesn't. Paul always says, and Rob says it too, is it bothers the humans more than the horses. The horses are used to it. It's the humans more that's kind of like,
Mm.
you know. So, uh, so yes, so those are the babies. Yeah, and I'm curious to see, how everything kind of keeps progressing. Um, but all are doing well. And all right, Enola. Let's jump with Enola. She is one of the horses that raced last week.
Yeah, and before we start this video, Pedro and I were talking about the race, and I said, I think we have the 8 hole. It's going to be really tough. She's got gate speed, not elite gate speed, but with the conditions that night between the cold and the track surface, I said, I really hope Jimmy doesn't push her off the gate unless we get an early scratch or a late scratch, rather, or maybe another horse breaks before the gate. And we kind of, as you see, we kind of got that as the wings folded and you could roll it. Okay, so Jimmy has her on gate. He's looking to his left. He's trying to get a feel for who's going to leave. And I don't think he's leaving until he sees the 7 go. Then he leaves. He sees Bartlett go. Bartlett got to the top real quick, and then I think Jimmy made that quick assessment that, hey, I think I grab her and pull back because he made the decision that he's probably not going to get a hole. And after the race was over, we got some feedback from some people, and one thought he absolutely drove horribly, and another thought, he did a great job pulling back. And I tend to agree with the latter. Had Jimmy kept going, we're not going to get a hole there. I'm convinced we're not going to get a hole. And to go by Bartlett, Bartlett would have certainly retook it. It would have taken a lot of effort for Jimmy to get her to the top on a very difficult night. And look, we're in this for the long run. This wasn't the big race with everything on the line. So I think he made the right decision to pull back and fight another day and just look to get a check here. Um, Incidentally, Bartlett, in case you're not paying attention, he's driving. He's off to an unbelievable start again. 22 wins in like 45 starts. UDRS is like almost 600. So you don't want to play hardball with Jason. There's always next week. So right here, she's just sitting, and she's just waiting to make a move, and you could see horse dropping back along the rail, and he's thinking he's got to go to the outside here. The one horse is just fading. So right now we're just basically looking, to get a check, and I'm very content with just getting a fifth place check here, not using her hard in very, very difficult conditions. The race is over already. Bartlett's just blowing everybody away as he's been, forever it seems. And she's coming home fine, and she'll be ready for next week. He didn't have to abuse her. Had he pressed on from the very start and didn't grab her, who knows what the race would have looked like. She may have gotten parked. She may have finished last at the back of the pack and not getting a check. So I think he made the right call there. Pedro, what were your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I saw her. He left the gate, and at first was like, oh, I was like, all right, we actually might leave and get towards the front. And then once I saw Bartlett's horse already
Hmm.
solidified at the lead, and then I saw the horses on the inside already closing the gap quickly to get up
Right.
to Bartlett. I was like, okay, well, if we keep going, we're going to be parked out until at least the whole first quarter to get to the front. If Bartlett ever even lets us get to the front, he might try to park us out the whole mile. And then Anola's a nice horse. I don't like you said. I don't think this wasn't the Hambletonian to go all out.
Hmm.
120%, exhaust every ounce of her and try to win this race. I mean, I think she probably could have if we just emptied the tank 100%. But why? We have a whole year ahead. It's only January. She still fits really well the next time out. She's a nice horse. So
Yeah, and if it wasn't Bartlett, if Bartlett didn't leave with that horse, or if it was another driver and didn't leave, then Jimmy would have pressed on and would have had the lead, and we probably finish, right there. But Bartlett changes things.
I,
So yeah.
I was reading an article this morning on they're talking about the Yonkers and new changes with the 30 seconds. So just for everyone knows, they have new changes where Yonkers is trying to. They have a rule where they don't want drivers to do 30-second or higher second quarters. So if the first quarter is 29, or they just don't want them slowing down that second quarter anymore. They want that second quarter to be like below, like 29 and 2, 28, whatever it is. So anyway, the article they did mention the horses in the front. I gotta pull it up. I think they said that there's 49 winners or something like that. 49 winners at Yonkers so far, and I think they said something crazy like 48 out of the 40, no, 47 out of the 49 were sitting top three at the half. So
Hmm.
that just goes to show how ridiculous Yonkers is. Where if you are not sitting in the top three at the half, it's almost like you have no chance to
Yeah,
win that race.
agreed.
And if you were in the lead, I think was I think it was like 47 out of 49 were sitting top three. I think the lead was like 45. It was a ridiculous number. Like for somebody on the lead at the half was winning at like a 80% or 90%
Hmm.
clip. So meaning someone like Bartlett, who's a crazy UDRS right now, like 600, If he's on the lead, he's not letting anybody get to the lead. If
No.
he's on the lead, that's how he's so good. He will park them. He will park them, and he knows it. So, but anyway, but that's half mile racing. And yeah, we're gonna have a lot of it this year. So, all right, let's move on to the next horse. For whom the bell tolls. You have anything else, Charlie, on the Nola or? Oh, Nola, she will.
She's
She's off.
getting a week off,
She's
right?
getting off this week. Yeah, she's getting
Yeah.
off this week. She will not be in the box this week. She raced like 4 or 5 times in a row, and
Hmm.
then she'll be in the following week, probably either at Meadowlands or Saratoga. We'll see. Um, for whom the bell tolls is next. For whom the bell tolls, our new horse. I'm not going to go to specifics on her except that she's in Florida and she will actually be coming up here to Big Z in 7 to 10 days. So it won't be the end of February like we originally thought. It'll be sooner than that, probably a week to 10 days. It just the help, like we talked about before, the help situation is a little difficult right now in Florida for the trainer, so it's easier just get him up and with Rob, with his barn. All right, Gretzky the Great. Uh, he is in the barn. Came back. He came last week to Big Z, and he is swimming.
Hmm.
So he's gonna be swimming now until uh, the spring.
Yep, springtime.
So that's
We'd love to give you, exact dates, but when you're coming off, an injury, it's hard to say how quickly they're going to progress. So, rather than give you, a month and say it's going to be March, it's going to be April. Let's just call it springtime. We don't want to get anyone's hopes up, and we don't want to push him until he's ready. But we think he'll be fine. And he'll come back strong and make everyone happy.
yep. Yeah, he's a nice horse. Just gotta get him healthy. Invictus, he is arriving. He's also. I thought he came back last week, but just a lot of logistical things going on with the weather. So he's actually coming in from Binghamton, scheduled to come in on February 1st, same as Boistel, and he is. It'll take him a little bit, just to not terribly long because he hasn't been on vacation that long, but it'll take him a little bit just to kind of get his legs underneath him, and he's targeted to resume racing probably in February, probably in the back half of February. So that's his story, and he's a good young horse. Just needed a break. Rosa, we can do Rosa. We can do the Rosa race. Just Rosa's luck.
Okay, so Brad Chisholm's. It was Brad Chisholm on Rosa,
Right,
correct?
right.
Yeah. It looked like he had a nice little hold on her here. He's leaning way back here. I'm like, wow, is he having trouble holding her? Um, I thought he was going to push her off the gate there. For whatever reason, takes back. I thought maybe he should have left there with the
I
hold that
agree.
he had on her, but pulls back. All right, gets away okay. But as you see, which is typical, you always have two or three at least, coming on the outside, and we get away fifth here.
No, I think you hit it on the head. I'll let you go, Charlie. Yeah, I think she
Yeah,
should have
no,
been
no,
on the
good.
lead.
You can comment.
No, I think she should have been on the lead. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. I mean, whenever you see a driver have a hold like that, I don't know if he choked her down at that point, but if she wants to go, just go. He definitely could have gotten ahead of the one and the two inside horses, no problem, and then he would have taken on some pressure from the outside, and that's fine. So, the headwinds were pretty rough in the stretch. Sometimes that works against you. But look, the winds were so gusty that they're swirling. I don't know where the winds were at that point that night, that late in the race. I left early on, but she gets out here, and I think she's in a good spot now. Second over, and she's got good live cover. Colin Kelly's advancing. Pretty much, she's right on the helmet. Um, half was a little fast, 28, 56 and one. So I'm feeling kind of optimistic here. I even wagered on her here. I'm liking our spot right now. But here she kind of gets blocked a little bit. She's kind of got nowhere to go. She's just following, 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 and she just tends to like flatten out a little bit here. The horses start coming from the back, and yeah, she didn't really come home that good. She came home pretty much slower than uh, I think every horse in the race. Actually, I think it might have been like a 31 last quarter. So I was very surprised um, at how poorly she performed in that last quarter, and yeah, just something to me, something didn't seem right. And we did get some feedback from Brad, and he had Brad's a driver from down under, and like I said, it was brutally cold, and he said his hands were frozen, and he couldn't even hold her, and he thinks he may have choked her down. I don't know how early in the race or what point. So that is one possibility. He may have shut off her air. Therefore, that could be the reason for the dismal finish. Or the other possibility is there might be going something on physically, whether she was sick or whatever the case may be. So we'll probably pull some blood on her and see if there was anything there that may have impacted her performance, or if it was just a case of Brad shutting off her air.
Yeah, she will. Yeah, assuming all is well, she will be targeted for. We're gonna get her to a small track for a little bit. I think Charlie mentioned earlier that horses for courses is a true thing.
Yeah.
We so it's very very real, and so Rosa, we're gonna get her back on a small track. So she will be in the box this week for the following week, Tuesday, Wednesday at Yonkers and the 20 claimers.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, from Rosa thus far, I really think the half mile is her best. Suits her best. Maybe the 5/8 would be second to the half. I like her still. A couple of people are down in her, but I still believe in her. And at the right track, with the right driver that knows her, that can put her in play. Yeah, we're going to make money with this horse. I'm not down on her at all. I'm still confident that she's going to be the horse that we claimed, and we've seen flashes of that before. So no reason to think otherwise. I just think the Meadowlands just doesn't pick her up. I just think it's a tough track for a lot of horses.
She's got power, she's got speed.
Yep.
We've seen it. It's just we claimed her and then she hurt her leg. And then next thing you know, we were
Yep.
paying 2 months of bills before she got back to the races. Then she drew 1,000,000 7 holes when she came back. Everyone remembers that one. It was nonstop 7 holes. And we were like, what is going on here? She finally got inside and then she made money again. Um, and then she got sick. Then she went to the Meadowlands and then she got sick and lost a whole month. So it's
Yeah.
just been, you know, um, we just need to get her in the rhythm, in the consistent rhythm where she's
Hmm.
consistently racing, earning in a place she wants to be. And the way she races, she's kind of like a speedy horse, like an acceleration horse. Like she likes to get out there in the first half. She likes to get off the gate. She gets around the turns real good. So she's definitely more conducive for half mile racing. Um, she's
Yeah,
not
and
like
Pedro, we hadn't even discussed this prior, but another potential option too is we could always take a shot and put her in the game of claims. If she doesn't, if she doesn't do well at Yonkers, or Saratoga, wherever we decide to put her, yeah, the game of claims is always a possibility. And I think she could do very well there. And if we decide, we want to part ways with her, somebody I'm sure would jump on her as well. So there's a few options there for her, but I'd like to keep her if possible because I think in the long run, she can do well for us.
yeah, yeah. She made 65,000 last year, so she's a
Yeah,
good horse.
exactly.
We'll get her rolling. We'll get her rolling. Just gotta get the right spot and make sure
Exactly.
she's healthy. So all right. So next horse is Uh, My Hunter, he's actually like I always say, he might be one of the best horses in the barn, or he could be the
Hmm.
best horse in the barn. He's kind of like a sleeper sitting there. He will be in to qualify finally. So the wait is over, everyone. My Hunter is will be in to qualify this week, Tuesday or Wednesday. Might be Wednesday with the snow at Saratoga. So it's time has come. He's ready.
Yeah, I'm excited about Mindhunter. A couple of our people, they were getting a little restless. And you know, we told him, hey, listen, this horse has ability. In my opinion, he's the best horse that we've got. Okay, best overnight horse, and that break will definitely serve him well, and he's going to come back strong, and I think he's going to do some damage. I really do, because we saw what he can do when he was having some you know minor issues there late before we gave him that time off, and he could still do it. He's a gutty horse, and he likes to race, and yeah, he's going to give a good accounting of himself when he returns for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, looking forward to him. So yeah, he's the first of the cavalry arriving
Mhm.
for us this year. So he is making his debut this week in a few days. So my hunter, okay, he'll most likely be at Saratoga for a little bit just to kind of get him in the rhythm. Like we talked
Mhm.
about Rose, want to get my hunter in the rhythm. So all right, so seven Seagrams, same as Beetlejuice, doing well. Hopefully next week, at the end of next week, can be with start with the watch, weather permitting, and then but she's doing well. Ships Revenge, for all the Ships Revenge, she's a broodmare now, so she's still turned out at Big Z's. Just she hasn't been able to get out to Binghamton yet. She will hopefully get up there soon um, to be with Allie and start that process. The breeding doesn't really start until like mid-February. Um, but we do want to get her up there as soon as we can. Um, Skybox, Skybox, he was off this week, and he'll be in the box for next week. So in the box tomorrow for Friday next week at Meadowlands, and that same race as before. Hopefully he can draw inside. He's just nonstop outside posts. Um, and we won't have, it's Fridays. You won't have Jimmy Marone, Colin Kelly, Austin Siegelman. The Yonkers guys won't be there anymore. So, we'll see what we can get. It might be Brad Chisholm, which is good. He's solid. Or it could be somebody else. We'll see how that goes. Um, Soho Skyfall. He is in the box this week for Sunday, February 1st. So a week from today, Soho Skyfall he'll be in the box this week. I think the draw is like Wednesday or Thursday for Sunday at Saratoga. Let's hope he gets in. He fits really low there, so let's hope he
Mhm.
gets in. And Solar Queen is same as the babies. Hopefully, stopwatch later next week. All right, Charlie, you have anything else? I think that's it with the horses.
Yeah, nothing else that comes to mind. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it all.
All right, so hang in there, everyone. Slowly, even though it doesn't look like it today with this crazy storm out, but in the Northeast, um, things are slowly but surely thawing out with tracks opening, especially once Saratoga opens on the 1st, and especially once Poconos opens on the 15th. Then really things start kind of ramping up. So hang in there. The babies and everybody's still doing well. The sophomores, the 3-year-olds are doing well, and they'll be back sooner than you think. The sophomores, the 3-year-olds, usually will qualify 2 months from now and later in March. So things are it's gonna happen pretty quickly. Once we get through January, you see it's gonna happen pretty quickly when all these horses start arriving. And then that's our bread and butter is kind of like April until like October. You
Mhm.
know, so hang in there. And I guess Trot Talk. We'll look to schedule a Trot Talk at some point, probably February ish, maybe March. We'll see with Paul Kelly again, just so he can kind of go through his horses in detail. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good luck with your horses this week.
Have a good afternoon, all.
All right. Take care.